So we're going to be talking all about Grailed. It's a menswear resale app. It was founded in 2014, so it's not brand new, but it's obviously newer than eBay. And so I got started on there in November. I use List Perfectly. They're integrated with Grailed, and so it was really easy for me to just test it out. I think Vendu is also integrated with them now too, so that makes it really simple to test it out, test out your menswear. Menswear has been such a question mark category for me. I have had some things that I've listed on Poshmark that are there for over a year, some things that sold really well. I still don't feel like I totally have a grasp on menswear, but as we know, the secondhand market is growing exponentially, and so I want a piece of that menswear market. So I'm trying to figure it out. So I thought I'd give Grailed a try, and so I'm going to share with you my tips, how it works, what I think of it so far, and then at the end of this video, if you're interested, I'm going to share what has sold so far. So again, my first sale was on November 3rd, so it's not a ton to share with you, but I thought I would let you know what has done well for me on there so far. Okay, so right off the bat, let's talk about fees. Grailed charges a 9% commission fee. Then your earnings go through PayPal, so you do have that PayPal fee on top of it. Domestic transactions are 2.9% plus 30 cents, and international transactions are 4.4% plus 30 cents. So it does work similar to eBay that you have to account for that in your bottom line. Okay, let's talk shipping. It's a little bit confusing, and I finally feel like I have a full picture of it now to share with you. But first of all, you have control over what you charge for shipping. So you can change your pricing for shipping when you're creating your listing. And Grailed does have the option of shipping internationally, and you have full control over which countries you are open to shipping to. So you can just choose Canada, you can just choose whatever country you're comfortable shipping to, or if you don't want to deal with international shipping at all, you can turn all of those off. It's really simple in the listing. So if a buyer buys an item at full asking price, their total will have the shipping included. And so the money that comes to you will be the cost of the listed cost of your item plus what the buyer paid for shipping that was determined by you. So that will all be going to your PayPal. You are completely in charge of choosing a carrier, creating the shipping label, and mailing it to your buyer. So Grailed isn't integrated with any shipping carriers or anything like that. You're responsible for it. So you can either go through the shipping carriers' websites directly, although I don't find that to be the most cost effective. I use Pirateship. I've used it for over a year now. I really like it. There is also Shippo. I've used that a couple times, but I've just settled on using Pirateship. I'll link it below. If you're watching this on Instagram, I will link it in my bio for you. It's really, really super simple and intuitive to use, so no worries there. And I can make a separate video all about Pirateship if you're interested. Just let me know in the comments or send me a DM. The last thing about shipping is that buyers are able to send you an offer, and that offer is their total cost. So their offer that they're sending you is including shipping. So say you have an item listed for $25 plus $8 shipping. If they send you an offer for $20, that isn't $20 plus $8 shipping. That's $20 period. So you would have to subtract the 9% commission, the 2.9% plus 30 cents PayPal fee, minus $8. So you have to factor that all into what your profit is going to be. So this is an example. I listed an item for $10 and I got an offer for $16, and I was so confused. I was like, why would somebody send an offer for over the asking cost? But that is why, because I had it listed for $10 and I must have left it at $8 shipping, because that's just their automatic price that they put on shipping. And so this was one of the first items I listed, so I hadn't fully understood how the whole thing worked. And so essentially that buyer was asking for a $2 break on shipping. So I accepted that offer. It was great, but he offered me $16, so that included the shipping. I hope that's clear. I hope that makes sense, because I was so confused, and now I mean, now it makes total sense to me, and it's not as like confusing as I thought it was, but I was just like, wait, am I paying for shipping? Does the buyer pay for shipping? Like, I'm so confused. So I hope I explained that in a way that makes sense. And that is my biggest tip with Grailed, is if somebody sends you an offer for $15 and you know the shipping is going to cost $12 on that item, don't accept that offer. Thankfully that didn't happen to me. Thankfully the guy that sent me the offer was nice enough to include shipping, and I guess that's the expectation that Grailed has set for their customers. And so that worked out for me, that my lesson learned wasn't at cost to me, but take the tip. And then the final thing about shipping that's really important is, once you have created the label, shipped the item, you have to go back into Grailed and just copy and paste the tracking number into it. And that has been one of the hardest things for me to remember for whatever reason. It obviously, because it's not integrated, it's not going to update automatically. And so I've gotten messages from customers a couple days later like, hey, when are you going to ship the item? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I shipped it, just didn't update the tracking. So Pirateship makes it super easy. There's like a little copy icon right next to that long tracking number. Copy, paste it in there, and that's it. It just sends it, and that'll update the customer on the tracking. So once the buyer receives the item, you are paid out automatically. So it goes right to PayPal. I love that. I love that I haven't had any issues or returns, and so my items have just been paid out immediately once the buyer got it, within a couple days, and I was able to transfer it from PayPal to my bank account instantly. So I love that. I mentioned briefly that buyers are able to make offers, and the nice thing about Grailed, the way their offer system works, is that once a buyer submits an offer, the offer is binding. If you accept it, you get paid immediately for that item. So that's really cool. And so my customers' offers have been super reasonable, and so I don't know. So far, I'm really enjoying Grailed customers. Grailed does have a messaging feature, which I love. It's much more simple than Mercari, which we will talk about at a later date, but there's an option on all of your listings for a buyer to send you a message if they have any questions or concerns, so that's really great. So no sharing on this app, which is nice, but Grailed does have features for you to refresh your listings and get them to appear closer to the top. And so every 7 days, they allow you to bump your item. So that just is basically, essentially sharing. And then after you've bumped your items 4 times, after a month, you have to drop your price by 10%. So that's a nice feature, that you don't have to drop the price every time, but once a month, you do need to drop your price by 10%, and that will send a notification to your buyers that the price has dropped. You are allowed to drop your price by any amount throughout the month, but it does have to be at least 10% for the likers on your item to be notified of the price drop. They do have a vacation mode, so you can put your whole closet on hold, which is nice if you're going to be out of town. You must ship your items within 5 days. I should have added that into the shipping category, but you have to ship your item within 5 days of the buyer purchasing it. So just figure that out for how many days you're going to be gone and how long you'll need to put your closet on hold for. Grailed's return policy, they say they have a money back guarantee, but the buyer's protection covers an item if A, it was never received, like it was lost in the mail, or your seller never shipped the item, or B, the item was, quote, significantly not as described. So very standard. There's a giant hole in the back. They didn't take a picture of it. They didn't tell me it was there. Then the buyer can return the item, and the process is similar, that they have to open a case, include photos and a description. It obviously does not cover offsite transactions, like any meetup transactions, nothing like that. Their return policy does not cover anything that's done outside of their website policies through their website. The items have to be authentic. You will get kicked off the site if you're found to be selling inauthentic items. And so all very standard there. So as far as you as the seller, your protection is PayPal seller protection. So in the event that an item is shipped and lost in transit, you're protected. If the buyer claims their money back, like a chargeback, before their item is received, you're protected. And then if an item, say the buyer makes a fraudulent claim against your item and they say that they just received a roll of tape in their box instead of an actual item, you're protected. So all good things there. So creating a listing is very simple, easy, about the same as any other marketplace. You're going to be asked to provide several details. I do really like that they have a very detailed measurement category, and that's just more search categories for you to come up in. So inseams and rises, waist, chest, shoulders, all of that. It's not mandatory. You don't have to fill them out. I think with jeans you do have to fill out the waist and inseam, but most of the categories are optional. So when you're pricing the item, it does sometimes show like a suggested price or similar items, what similar items to yours have sold for in a range, and you can choose to either use that information or ignore it. And then for shipping, you can again choose which countries you want that item to be eligible for. So say you have a large item, you know, you don't want to ship to another country, you can turn those off. And it's not an overall setting for your account. It will show that option every time, but say you list something only for the US on your previous listing, it will continue to use that option until you change it on your next listings. I hope that makes sense. So that is a very basic overview of how to get started on Grailed. Let me know if you do get started. I will put a link below that you can sign up for it, kind of poke around and see what you think. So far, I really like it. It's kind of an app for me that it's like a list it and forget it. I'll occasionally go on there and bump my items, but I've had sales. I just sold a pair of shorts on there and it's December. And I think they went to New York too. So it wasn't like they were going to Florida or like Southern California or anything. So I really enjoy it. I've sold things on there that I've been sitting on forever. And so let's get into what I have sold. The first thing that sold was a vintage Silton shearling suede vest. This thing sat and sat and sat and sat and sat on Poshmark. I think at one point I had listed it on eBay. It sat on Mercari and it sold. It was the first thing that sold on Grailed, so I was stoked. That sold for $48 plus $8 shipping. Awesome. The next thing that sold was a Pendleton wool shirt, sold for $19 plus shipping, and of course, again, this thing sat in my Poshmark closet forever. The next thing that sold was a Tommy Bahama silk. It was like a monochromatic silk palm print short sleeve button-up shirt. This sold for $33 plus shipping. All these I had $8 for shipping. I had not adjusted the shipping price on these yet. And then the next thing was the item that I mentioned. This sold for $16. That's including shipping. This was a J. Crew Thompson Shirtings button-up shirt. I was stoked to sell this thing because it had been sitting forever, and so I thought I was going to be stuck with it forever. And then the most recent thing that sold is a pair of shorts by the brand Outlier. This is a major Bolo brand for menswear. These sold for $60, and that was including shipping. So he sent me an offer. I think I had them listed for $65. He sent me an offer for $60 and including shipping. So I accepted that so fast. And so that is all I have sold so far on Grailed. I don't have very many men's items. I don't have much listed there. Let me see if it'll tell me how many items I have. I have 40 listings, so not a crazy amount there, but everything that I've sold have gone off without a hitch, and so I definitely recommend it. I recommend checking it out. It can be an easy way for you to kind of dump all your menswear over there, or occasionally bump your items, see how they do, test them out. It's a great way to like figure out the menswear market. So that is everything I have to say about Grailed. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, click the like if you're on Instagram or YouTube, subscribe, do all the things. and I will see you guys in my next video very soon.